Maxwell Roy commits to Ohio State over teams like that team up north and Rutgers. Those were his two other official visits here in the summertime. In fact, he visited the team up north, Michigan, last in his official visit schedule. And to be honest, things looked really good for the Wolverines there for a little while. They felt very confident. He even had a crystal ball pick in on the 24th, I believe it was. But then it was by the 25th that those crystal balls started coming in. I think even Sam Webb put a crystal ball in for him to go to Ohio State, which normally when something like that happens, you know that maybe Roy has talked to the Michigan staff and told them, hey, appreciate the time. And he's very respectful. I think that we've gotten that out of Maxwell Roy, and everything that he's done is he's a good young man, very respectful with these coaches. And I'm not going to say this isn't something that most other recruits do, because they do, but it's definitely shows maturity on his part and just wanting to make a good decision for him. So that's excellent stuff. You love that Ryan Day is bringing in guys who are good, high character guys with a lot of respect for the program and respect for other programs as well. You know, we like to hate on the team up north. I myself do for sure, but at the end of the day, it's also about respect, respecting the rivalry, respecting your opponent, and you like to see that from him there. One thing that he didn't mention that he loved about Michigan was the culture. And if you read the reports about his visit to Michigan, he was hosted by Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant. I mean, those are their two studs, right? That you want to be showing him around. And so Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant are showing him around, bringing him every place. And then who is the coach that he talks to the most, other than Lou Espinazo? I apologize. I'm not trying to diss the man by saying his name wrong. The defensive line coach for Michigan. The coach that he's talking to the most outside of him, Sharon Moore. And so obviously Sharon Moore really, really wanted Maxwell Roy in this class. It feels good to know that this was in fact a top target for Michigan, and it is somebody that is going to ultimately be a Buckeye, whether that's because he likes Larry Johnson, whether that's because he likes Ryan Day. At the end of the day, he most likely just enjoyed the entire campus and everything that he saw on his trip. So we love that. We appreciate that. And I think that's awesome to know. Maxwell Roy does come from the 2025 class, so he'll be enrolling here soon. And then he also comes from the high school of St. Joe's Prep School out in Philadelphia, PA. If that sounds familiar, well, that's where Isaiah West is from. That's where Jim Knowles graduated from. So obviously a great connection there. Marvin Harrison Jr., Kyle McCord as well. Obviously, you know, Buckeye fans don't like that name as much as Marvin Harrison Jr., but he did come from there, and we do have some good recruits that have come from there and that are currently coming from there. And Isaiah West, 6'3", 270 pounds. He also throws for track and field, and he is a very good wrestler. This is the kind of stuff that Ohio State loves, not only multi-sport athletes, but especially on the defensive line. And we'll see it in the film a little bit, but especially on the defensive line, the ability to wrestle. It offers the flexibility. It offers some of the things that maybe you don't get out of these normal D linemen. But these guys up north, they do wrestle a little bit more, and so you do like to see their ability to do that. All right, let's talk about his rankings here. In the 24/7 composite, Maxwell Roy is the 221st player nationally, four-star prospect, the number 25 player in the defensive line position group, and then the number 8 player in Pennsylvania. The group that is the highest on him in 24/7 is not far behind, but Rivals is the highest on him, a top 150 player. They have him at number 148, the 10th, so he's his top 10 there, defensive lineman, and the number 5 player in Pennsylvania. The group that is, in fact, the lowest on him does appear to be on 3. They do not even have him nationally ranked. He's the number 84. Wow, that's really low. Number 84 defensive lineman and the number 22 player in Pennsylvania. This could possibly be because of the torn ACL that he suffered recently. Definitely could be impacting his ranking there. We know On3 doesn't update their rankings quite as much as some others do. They will update this eventually, and I think that after he plays his senior year and after he's done some of the camp stuff, he will most likely be able to show off how much of a better player he is and how the ACL didn't really affect him much. And I think at the end of the day, that was something that Ohio State was wanting to see. You know, did the ACL tear affect him that much? And at the expense of it all, ACL injuries don't affect players nearly as much as they used to. Now, they can definitely really hurt players' careers, and they definitely can injure them for a much longer period of time, other than just you can't play during this period of time. But in this situation, he did heal up well. He did have good doctors, and it sounds like he still is a very much similar, if not the same player that he was before the ACL tear, which is one of the reasons why Ohio State was so much interested in him. They were a little bit concerned about the ACL injury, but seeing that he is still a very good player and still has that ability, they obviously still wanted him because he is obviously a very good player. Insiders have reported that Ohio State may have kind of cooled on him. They were kind of picking him to go to Michigan. They were kind of saying Rutgers had a really good chance here. But I think at the end of the day, once Larry Johnson looked at him and said, "This is the guy I want. This is the guy I want to come in and play for us," that was kind of the nail in the coffin of it all. Maxwell Roy wanted to be a Buckeye, and it just so happened the Buckeyes wanted him to be a Buckeye as well. Does this affect other defensive linemen guys, right? We kind of thought maybe he's out of the class, maybe we're going a different direction. Jarquez Carter, I do think this affects him. I don't think that Ohio State will go after Jarquez Carter as much as they were before. This was somebody kind of in the middle of the summer they were starting to go after a little bit more, kind of seemed like a backup plan in case things didn't work out with Maxwell Roy. They very much could still go after him. Maybe they lose out on another defensive lineman commit or somebody decommits and they still go after him again. But I do think that at the end of the day, this does affect whether or not they go after Jarquez Carter. I don't think they go after him because of the commitment of Maxwell Roy. I don't think this in any way affects Jakeem Stewart or anything like that. Jakeem Stewart in his own stratosphere right now. You see what he does, right? Everybody thinks he's going to reclassify to the 2025 class, which he most likely is. But until that happens, you can't really plan for it. You just got to take the guys that you think are best for you. And if he does reclassify and he wants to come to your school, then you just kind of let the chips fall where they may. Let's look at some film here of Maxwell Roy. Again, he did get injured, so we're not going to see the longest film in the world. I think maybe it's about 3 minutes, but let's check him out. All right, didn't really follow him there. See if we can catch him on this next one. All right, on the inside here, lined up in front of the guard, goes after him. Good chase down there. Excellent job. I like that kind of ability. Lined up in the gap there. Great job. Got around the block, fought through. You can see how much he just clogs up the middle there and his ability to just stop the run. They really don't have an answer for him. So he's not playing the nose. He is outside a little bit, which you like to see. And he's playing multiple fronts too. They have him playing the 3-4 and the 4-3. Wow. A lot of power there. A lot of leverage. Watch him explode. Okay, we didn't see it as much there. Good hit on the quarterback afterward. Can't on him like that, but still a good hit. He has good explosion off the snap. Times the snap well. Like to know if he has a lot of penalties, and he was able to shoot that gap really well. It just kind of squeaked through there. It's hard for a 6'3", 270 guy to squeak through. I'm really impressed with his explosion off the snap. He's able to explode, and then he hits those guys with his upper body. There's some guys that have a really good first step, and I'm not saying his first step isn't good, but there's some guys who have a very good first step, and that's kind of how they get their power into it. There's other guys that they just explode upward, and they hit that offensive lineman, knock him back because they have that, obviously that leverage coming from below them. Watch him. I think this is, watch it. Just his ability to explode straight into that offensive lineman, push him back. I want to see the flexibility. I think we're going to see some of that as well. Yeah, he's pretty flexible there. I don't think that was a great interpretation of it, but this one might be a little bit harder to see. Oh, no. Yeah, you definitely saw that flexibility there, him being able to get around the offensive lineman. And I like that lateral quickness too. Him being able to get across the line. He's not just a run forward guy. Excellent jobs getting through the gap there. Yep, that was great lateral quickness there. Sidestepping the offensive line and staying in the gap. Able to stop the run. Boy, I just really like his flexibility. You can tell that he's a very accomplished wrestler. And you can tell he has that explosion. I mean, there's a difference between the ability to explode off the snap, and there's a difference between the ability of just having that first step that gets you exactly where you need to be. I don't know if one is better than the other. I guess it just kind of depends on your preference, maybe as a coach. But I mean, his explosion going into it is excellent. So I'm okay either way. All right, here we go on the inside. Didn't explode as much there, but he was patient, had some lateral quickness to get around them there, and then just got into the backfield. So excellent stuff there. I really like Maxwell Roy. Think that he's going to be great. I would love to see his huddle film after the torn ACL. Not that I don't trust Larry Johnson in them. Obviously, I do, but I would love to see, does he have that same explosion? Does maybe his footwork improve? Did he add something different to his game when he was recovering from his torn ACL? Because you can't work on certain things as much. You sometimes are able to add something else to your game. So I'm really excited to see Maxwell Roy his senior year, how he's able to do, especially coming from a program like St. Joe's Prep. There's a lot to be said about getting guys from a program that you trust, and it really seems like Ohio State has trust in St. Joe's Prep with them going after Isaiah West, obviously Marvin Harrison Jr., and Jim Knowles being from there, being an alumni as well. So thank you everybody so much for watching. Super excited. Maxwell Roy, part of this Ohio State 2025 class. Please do like and subscribe. We appreciate it. Have a good one.